All right, Krug Show on the road in Vegas, and we're at a Greyhound bus stop, and look who is here.
Yeah, right.
These two guys just showed up. It's an amazing thing. Dieter Kurtenbach, that is the Dieter Kurtenbach.
The one.
So
like the loathe.
if you had your bike stolen at the University of Missouri and you're wondering where it is, it's here, Dieter Kurtenbach. I don't think it's here with him in Vegas, but probably at his residence. You could go into the garage.
I think I bought the residence. I had to steal some bikes.
And much better than Dieter,
Hutchinson.
Jake Hutchinson.
It's fine.
Jake Hutchinson, who, was at KMBR, but then said, you know what, I'm stepping my game up. No, I'm just joking. No, I'll be totally impartial. He has stepped his game up, but Jake's covered the Niners for a long time. Both these guys, I love to get opinions of people that I know what the heck they're talking about, and you guys both absolutely do.
Let me
so
find somebody.
and you guys know people who do. So could you guys
Right.
No, but you guys really do know the matchup. So let's just get into it real quick. I mean, in some ways, I'm like, how are the Niners favored? I keep thinking they got Mahomes and they got Reed, and Reed wants to go out on top, and they got this killer D, and their defense is giving up 7 points a game in the second half, and their offense is scored on 8 consecutive first drives. So it's like, if you just told me right there, those two facts, your offense is going to score on the first drive of the game, and your defense is going to give up 7 points in the second half, and you have Mahomes and Reed, it's like kind of like you can see why they're winning and their equation. So, but then I look at the Niners and say, man, they're plus 193 in point differential, and the Chiefs are plus 77.
Yeah.
Maybe the Niners are better. All right. With that being said, give me your overall on the matchup. Who wants to go first?
I've watched every snap of both of these teams this season, and I do think that it's really funny, the narrative coming here into Las Vegas with the Chiefs being here. And obviously, they're a great team for every reason you just mentioned, right? This great D, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. What else do you need? Well, watching all these snaps all season, seems like they needed a lot more. That defense has been really good since week one. Even in that game against Detroit, they were really good. And it's just a lack of offensive weapons. The offensive line is suspect. I like the interior. The exterior is brutal. It's the worst in the NFL. And, Rashee Rice, I think, is a really nice player, but is he a game changer? Is he someone who's going to win you a title? I don't think so. It's Kelsey, it's Mahomes, it's Reed, it's Steve Spagnuolo. That matters. That's why you're here, but it's not much else, man. I mean, even Isaiah Pacheco's getting his tires pumped up here. He's good.
That's
he
my
should
guy.
start.
That's my guy. He's a fellow New Jersey, and that's my guy.
But Isaiah Pacheco's not that guy. I mean, when you compare him to Christian McCaffrey, I mean, what are we talking about here? I just think that the Chiefs, because of the narrative of them getting through the AFC playoffs where they just had 3 great matchups, no pass rush, a team that didn't want to be there in Miami, a Buffalo team that was fundamentally flawed all the way up until the end of one man show.
And that defense was demolished.
Totally demolished. No pass rush.
They were starting A.J. Klein at linebacker.
It was brutal. And Josh Allen out there like, I'll do it myself. Well, that doesn't work in the playoffs. And then Lamar Jackson saying, I will never do this myself for some reason in the AFC Championship game, standing back there like he's Joe Montana when he's Lamar Jackson. I mean, I just think that they got this in a way handed to them. Credit to them for taking advantage of the opportunity, but they haven't played a team like the 49ers yet with that kind of talent. And all the defense for the Niners has to do is show up for one flipping game.
Right.
And it is maybe a blowout. I mean, we're not biased about this stuff.
That's the thing. It's like, if you look at it logically, it's Niners all the way. But because it's Mahomes, it's impossible to look at that logically, right? Because there's devil magic involved.
Like, what's the one bet you make? Patrick Mahomes as an underdog.
Right.
And that's what everyone's doing.
Right, and so for me, I look at both teams, and I initially, my gut feeling was Chiefs, just because of Mahomes, because of how slow the Niners have started. And John Lynch has said, like, if we start slow again, that's not an option. And I don't think they will. But when I look at the Chiefs, and to go back to the tackles, their tackles are terrible. Like, Juwan Taylor, Donovan Smith is a shell of his former self.
Like, Larry, I'm thinking about taking some snaps in the Super Bowl and tackle. I feel
Thinking about getting in there?
I talked to Chase Young yesterday, and I was asking
Chase Young has beaten Dieter Kurtenbach again, folks.
Hey, listen, it's going to be the same story no matter who's wearing it.
I don't know who Kurtenbach is, but he's having a bad day.
We should probably get that guy.
I know. Get Dieter out there. No, but genuinely, the Chiefs run a lot of 13 personnel, a bunch of tight ends.
They telegraph everything.
but they don't chip that much. And I was asking Chase Young about that, and he's like, and I was like, do you not agree with that? He's like, no, they don't chip that much. But he's like, but look at who they're playing. Like, basically the Niners
Miami,
expect
Buffalo, Baltimore.
Right.
Name one good pass rusher on any of those teams in the playoffs.
Right, and it's something where Tua, I don't believe in Tua.
Nope.
Like McDaniels schemed it up, but in
It was
bad
minus
weather,
4 degrees and they're the Miami Dolphins. Even
Right.
I was cold watching
Right.
it on Peacock.
And so, the Ravens have a great scheme, but not elite edge rushers.
That's right.
I think that Chase Young and Bosa are both going to get chances, and it's kind of a matter of like, do they get away with holding?
Yeah.
Because those guys hold a lot.
Yeah.
And they probably will get away with it, but I still think that's a pass rush that I think they're going to get home. And if they do, like,
Well,
maybe,
then where's the outlet? Then it's always Kelsey.
Right.
Or it's Rashee Rice on the one route that he can run effectively, which is that drag route from left to right. I mean, I'm not the biggest Steve Wilkes fan, but if he can't scheme something up to stop those, like, what are we doing here?
Right.
I mean, I guess Steve Wilkes won't have a job after this game if that's what happens.
Right.
But, I mean, legitimately, I think you and I could get together in an afternoon and be like, okay, we're going to run this.
Right.
Rush 4, drop 7, stay sticky with your linebackers. You have the best coverage linebacker in the NFL in Fred Warner. You have corners and safeties that can tackle in the run game. Your issue, this team's issue, this postseason has been that nobody opposite Nick Bosa has been able to get home. And beyond that, they're not even setting edges. So with Chase Young, Randy Gregory, I think it's got to be a lot of Chase Young, which is a dangerous proposition. But if he can get home, then Nick Bosa's getting single teams. Then the Chiefs have to chip with those extra tight ends that they throw in there when they want to run the ball.
And if they don't get burned on screens, because the Chiefs have checked it down more than they ever have, they're going to try and test the Niners' edges where there have been vulnerabilities this year.
Yeah.
The Niners can be sound there and just
I think they're
tackle.
fundamentally sound.
And I think they
They're
have
good
been better than the second half of the season.
Yeah.
I think the Niners will win. But again, Mahomes, devil magic.
Devil
so
magic. Brock
who's
Purdy's
to
got
say?
some devil magic too,
Right.
you should know. I mean, he won't
Right.
like hearing that, but it's devil magic.
The one thing that stood out to me when I watched that Raven game is that Kansas City just doesn't take any chances
That's
right now.
They're really
They're
sound,
just,
but that's the
they're
two-way
like,
street.
but they're not. It's like they're not dropping 5-7 steps and letting those tackles get exposed.
Yeah.
They're hitting Kelsey on a quick hitter. Everything was the quick game, and then Pacheco. And to me, it's like, I mean, one of the questions I want to ask Wilkes is like, if you can't stop the quick game in Pacheco.
Right.
You're not even ever going to get a chance to really pass rush against Mahomes and take advantage of these tackles.
Yeah.
So they're going to come out in this shell kind of safe, quick game. You can't stop it. And are you going to challenge them at the line of scrimmage and force and really smother them and force them to go over your head?
Yeah.
Or do you and hope that your rush gets home? Or do you sit there and lose the time of possession and let Mahomes just ticky-tack down the field? Because the Niners are going to struggle to stop Pacheco, and they're going to struggle to stop the quick game unless they come out looking for it, hoping to take it away. Because that's all they used against Baltimore. They were what they needed to win, basically, by the time that game settled in.
I mean, other than the Baltimore game on Christmas, I would say that the worst game that the Niners played this year was against Cincinnati. And what was Joe Burrow going out there doing? Just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
He was hitting them within 2 seconds. And it was because nobody was getting home. Nick Bosa's going up against triple teams. They had it schemed up. They felt like the 49ers were a very easy defense to scheme against, and they executed at an exceptionally high level. But it should be noted that the Niners had a chance late in that game. Contrary to all logic, they had a chance late in that game. I also just think that this extra week of rest is huge for a guy like Javon Hargrave,
And Armstead.
And Armstead. I don't know if I could trust the feet. Big problem for me.
Right.
But with Hargrave and the hamstrings, that's all your explosion coming off the line. And he's not exactly a run filler, but if he can get interior pass rush pressure, because Joe Thuney's not going to play at left guard, and Creed Humphrey's incredible, and I love Trey Smith, but like they're still gettable. They're not infallible. If you can get interior pass rush pressure, I don't really give a damn what Chase Young is doing on the outside, because now Patrick Mahomes has to make that decision even faster. And again, I keep coming back to this. There's one option for him when things get tough. Now, he's incredible, and he might find a way to get Travis Kelce the ball 15 times.
I mean, some of those plays when it broke down to Kelsey just finds space regardless of how you scheme it up.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to happen, but it's a matter of, like, if you force the Chiefs into that as their default, and it's like,
That's not
you
offense.
just have to do magic, like, sure, they're going to beat you, they're going to score. Like, that's inevitable.
Yeah.
But if that's all they can do, you're probably going to win this game.
Yeah. Listen, I look at it again. I think there's a lot of sound, I wouldn't call it logic, but I think that the gut is sound in saying Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, 2 weeks to prepare, super sound defense, just enough around Mahomes to make this happen. Always bet on Mahomes as an underdog. It's an easy way to make money. But when you really start breaking it down and you give the 49ers the benefit of the doubt, right? If we're giving the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt after their route here, when there was a chance they weren't going to win their division late in the season, they lost 5 or 8 games between Halloween and Christmas. There was a chance they weren't going to. This is somewhat of a miracle that they're here. It speaks to the greatness of their top end guys. If we're not giving the 49ers the doubt, why are we giving the Chiefs the doubt? So let's give them both the doubt. And if you're looking at that, it's like, well, damn, I'll take the 49ers every time.
I mean, the 49ers have been the best team in the NFL from the start of the season, right?
Well, now that Baltimore's not here.
Right. Yeah, right. But even then,
it's not as if there's some sort of fluke that's here on a magic run. This was always the plan.
Right. And I think just from a basic fundamental standpoint, if the 49ers do what they do, they're going to win. I mean, and that's been the problem in the last 2 games,
Easier said than done.
Right. But, I don't know. I think 2 weeks to prepare, the amount of attention to detail that this team is going to have, and also, like, I just have a hard time believing they're going to start as slow as they did the last 2 games.
Totally.
And the fact that they did that they played terribly for a half in both of those games and came back and won it in a way that they were criticized as, oh, they can't do this. I mean, that matters. That matters is like, even if they fall behind, they're like, all right, we're fine.
That's belief.
And there's a vibe
that's
to
what
that.
Kansas City had the last time these two teams played, right?
Right. And so now they kind of have, and Niners fans won't want to hear this comp, but it's kind of like they've got their own little Russell Wilson. Like they've got that sort of little guy scrambling magic where other teams are like, really, this guy? Yeah, like this guy. And they have that in Purdy. And if Purdy just reads the field like he did for most of this season and actually trusts his processing, he's going to make his reads. They're going to execute. I love what Spagnuolo does, but the 49ers are an offense that dictates what they do. Their motions with McCaffrey create gravity that change the rules for defenses.
Debo healthy.
Yes. All their weapons are healthy. It's too many weapons to be like, yes, you can scheme up great disguises with your safeties, you can pull guys back, you can have robbers, you can rotate everyone. But when the offense has a fullback and a running back who takes up space, and they can dictate whether or not they want to run. You have one of the greatest minds in the NFL, and Kyle Shanahan, who trusts his quarterback. That's not to be taken lightly.
The Chiefs got here because they didn't lose 3 games. It was very Patriots. They just said, we're going to let the other team beat themselves. And Miami did it the second they got off the bus. Buffalo did it in the fourth quarter of that game. And I don't know what the hell that game plan was for the Baltimore Ravens, but they were hell-bent on beating themselves that day. The 49ers have the ability to beat themselves. We've seen that in this postseason. But the talent and the brain trust, and I think now the belief is such that it's really hard for me to see that being a viable game plan going into the Super Bowl. And honestly, I think that's what really Kansas City has to hang their hats on. It's very Patriots, and it worked for the Patriots. The Patriots also got their butt kicked in a couple Super Bowls, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens to Kansas City in this game. I got the Niners by 9.
Wow. I have the Niners 31-20.
You're going heavier.
I like 31-20. I think the Niners score basically 30 under Purdy, and I think the Chiefs are about a 20-point team. Yeah. I think Kansas City's bound to have a turnover or 2, but they're also kind of explosive. Chase Young got called out. You know, he got singled out,
not just called out, a lot, and very, very explicitly by everyone in the organization.
On the team, they weren't even half-assing the criticism.
What's that?
They weren't even half-assing the criticism. You ask them about Chase Young, it's got to be better. It's like, whoa, okay. I mean, heavy criticism from teammates and coaches.
Well, it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, we all can watch the game and you can see energy and effort, and you're used to seeing extraordinary energy and effort, and then all of a sudden you get a guy in a game of that magnitude looking like somebody else is going to make the play. I'm jogging over here. It just looked bad. But he got called out, and now it's on this Super Bowl stage, and the Super Bowl stage always grows. So now you're getting called out by, you know, in a way that people will remember it forever or whatever.
Everyone's eyes are going to
How is he going to respond?
I think...
Is he going to be worse? Either you crater or you persevere.
If he's worse against these tackles, he's not getting a contract next year, much less a big one.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Going to be a free agent. You want to work yourself into to a life-changing free agent
erase
deal.
everything you just did.
No
with
one,
great
yeah,
Super Bowl.
yeah. You get a sack or two in the Super Bowl and get pressure on Mahomes, and 49ers win.
Yeah.
You get not whatever contract you want, but he's going to get a nice deal. I talked to Daryl Tapp one-on-one the other day, and I was asking him about Chase Young, and he was like, "That's what people remember." And you put that on tape. It doesn't matter that he had a better second half in that game, and he did. And
He did.
made an impact. He had a run stop. He had nice pressure, but it didn't matter because he had that one play where he loafed around. And as I was talking to Tapp, he started to turn a corner, and his eyes lit up. And you've seen Tapp in practice. He gets in a 3-point stance. He's energized.
I love
but
him.
Vatek Hokie right there.
Right. But you could see in his eyes, and I was like, I can see you getting sort of hyped up and emotional. He's like, I cannot wait to see what Chase Young does. Because he said that Chase Young knows that they care about him as a person, and when you come into a new scheme, you might not buy in immediately.
Yeah.
It feels like Cap was saying, he knows we actually care about him. We're trying to get the best out of him, and he's and every coach is going to be confident about their players.
Yeah.
But to call out what he did and then to express that he's legitimately confident in what he's going to do Sunday, that gives me cause for confidence.
Everyone I talk to, it sounds as if they're just going to put the game on his shoulders. Legitimately, they're like, listen, man, it's pretty straightforward. If you have a big game, we win the Super Bowl. He's a low motor player. That's been the case since Washington. I know that he's had some of the power zapped out of his legs because of injury.
We can relate.
I get it. Yeah. Well, listen, we've been very high motor here in Las
right.
Vegas. That's why we're leaving early.
We can
But,
can relate.
But low motor player, not a guy who brings it every down, but when he brings it, it's obviously spectacular because he does have the physical ability, even in a lesser version of himself. He had that much to work with. If this dude can't get up for the Super Bowl when everyone is like, it's all you, baby. Again, I don't know who's going to sign him next year. So, the dude wants to make $10 million, $20 million. I mean, probably not 20 anymore, but $10 million a season next season. Hey, I got an opportunity for you.
15, 20 is on the table.
You can get a big, fat, unwearable ring that you can keep in a closet for the rest of your life and pawn off down the line, and tens of millions of dollars, or your entire career can be thrown
That's
into
also
the
what we
balance.
get if we're right about Chase Young.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Will give us that kind of
You should be surprised.
Who's the MVP?
Purdy.
Yeah, it's going to be Purdy. I want to say McCaffrey.
I'll give you a dark horse though.
I got a dark horse too.
Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
I got a dark.
How dark?
I got more of a dark horse than that. I'm going with Jair Brown.
Oh, don't tell me things.
Now
that
here,
warm
wait
my
a second.
soul.
Listen to this. Listen to this one. This is how I see this game. Kansas City's going to come out, and they saw the last two films.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to run Pacheco,
Yeah.
and they're going to say, well, we don't even need to worry
By
about
the way, no one
having
has
Patrick
stats
sacked.
more than Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh,
They're
he's
walking
just
around Vegas.
he's
nonstop.
violent. He's a violent runner.
10,000 steps every run. It's
Oh, the guy's awesome. He's high energy. So I mean, they're going to use Pacheco, and if the Niners can't stop it, it's not going to end. It's just going to be a whole lot of Pacheco. So I think Jair Brown in the run game
the box,
gets
forced fumble.
first half could get 8 tackles at halftime against Pacheco, and then I kind of see the second half if the Niners offense comes alive, like I kind of expect them to score 30.
Yeah.
That maybe Mahomes may spend part of the second half in a comeback mode, and now he's a great ball hawk.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he gets 8 tackles and 2 picks, and the offense, Ayuk
of
scores,
spreads
Debo
out,
scores, CMC scores, Kittle scores,
The
and
darkest horse.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got?
Jake Moody.
I want to
George Odom.
jog everybody's memory back to the last Super Bowl.
Okay.
And there was the briefest moment where Kyle Juszczyk could have actually won
That's
MVP
right.
because he had a touchdown, and I think he
right there.
he went down at the 1 yard line,
Yeah.
and he almost had 2 touchdowns
It would have
to
been
put the Niners.
I mean,
up.
I would have voted for
I
Bosa.
would have voted for him, and they would have given it to Garoppolo. But if
No,
we're
they
doing
would have
dark,
given it to Bosa.
if
There
we're-
was a
I-
straw poll in that press
I
box. It
know.
was Bosa.
If we're doing darkest horse, I'm
The
doing
fullback?
Kyle
Yeah.
Juszczyk solely because 1, I'm a sick person. And 2, I love fullbacks, and the 49ers have loved to talk about how they dictate stuff with the fullback.
They're telling us.
Yeah, and let's say the Chiefs sell out on everyone else. And unlike Jimmy Garoppolo, who every time Juszczyk was open on a wheel route down the sideline, and every single game
Never
would
saw it.
overthrow him, Purdy actually hits those throws. So
Just had a really
that's
good
that's
NFC
my darkest
championship
horse.
game.
Yeah.
I like it. Again, and this is where we're at. I will say this. I think Logan Ryan's going to play a lot of slot in this game. I think that they liked what they saw in the second half of the NFC Championship game where he came in there. Listen, the hips aren't there. He doesn't have the physical ability anymore, but he knows where to be. And when you're a zone team, that's way more important than anything else. Diamador Lenore has been incredible. Just keep his ass on the outside. Just keep him out there. He's great. He's great on the interior. That's fine. If you're going to bring in base and you're going to be playing, 3 linebackers, that's fine. You can have Diamador Lenore close to the line. But you're going 2 teams that are tight sets. I want Lenore out at the best position. Keep Ambry Thomas off the field. Give me Logan Ryan. There's not going to be that much room to have to negotiate. I thought he was really good in the slot. Big 4th down play, obviously, against the Lions. And then that gives you both Gip, who they're never going to take off the field right or wrong, and then also Jair Brown, who's my dude. He's the Brock Purdy of the defense. Came in unsuspecting and just made an impact immediately. I think that the way that they handled him this postseason is downright criminal, with him not playing in that game against Green Bay and then kind of in and out.
After telling him he was going to play and then not putting him on.
Yeah, he's really, really good. I love your dark horse pick, Larry. If nothing else, because I love watching Jair Brown play football, and because I'm leaving. You couldn't get me to stay for this goddamn game. I'm watching it on TV. You're not sticking me and a bunch of people from Kansas City in the same press box. Sorry. I know how that works. It's a Spirit Airlines flight. I'm going to be angry that I'm not going to be able to watch every play with the safeties on the field, get that all 22 angle, even though they'd probably put me somewhere on the roof. It may be a good angle, all things considered. But Jair Brown, I think, I'm with you. I think
Jair Brown might be, he's my sleeper. All right, guys, last night we went to a steakhouse. And I got the country ribeye bone in.
Nice.
And it did me well. I got to be honest. I'm feeling good today. If you're going to a steakhouse, first of all, is there a dinner that you guys are going to absolutely have while here that you're just set? You're right. You're going there no matter what.
Papa Dietz got enough dinners on him.
I've been eating basically prepackaged meals from just the food court.
Right.
And
backpacking food.
Yeah, it's Vegas it's a special place.
Here's what I'm having fun. I'm gonna have this cigar.
Look at that! Look at that!
Listen, Vegas. I will say this: for all of its downsides, and it is in full bore. Like, this is the most Vegas that Vegas has ever Vegas.
Right.
They nail it with events. Like, this is a very solid place to have a Super Bowl. New Orleans is another good spot. That's where the next year's Super Bowl is. This is going to be a tough act to follow. By the way, Bay Area, 2 years from now, I don't know how the hell they're going to match this.
Right.
Because people do get a kick out of Vegas. Jake and I, not so much, but people get a kick out of Vegas, and I think it's bringing the goods.
Yeah, no, it's. I didn't go to a steakhouse, but I'm a New York Strip guy.
New York Strip.
Yeah, and then when I get when I get anything bone-in, I also just take the bones with me, and then I'll put it in my back pocket, make a stock out of it.
Now, Dieter didn't answer, so he's going New York Strip. Are you a porterhouse man? Are you looking for?
If I have my druthers,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm getting the biggest T-bone I can.
all right.
And I like having both, but I butcher my own meat at home. So,
Really?
Anything
Dieter just captures wild animals and slaughters them in his
By the
backyard.
way,
I may
we're
use-
hanging out with these Kansas City people.
I
bet
may-
they can get me a good deal on a steer.
There's a very good chance when we put together the new open for the show, that I butcher my own meat at home
Yeah.
might be in.
love
In many ways, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
You go to Costco, you get that giant tenderloin.
Right.
Massive. It costs like $180.
Right.
Let me back up a little
But
bit.
you can cut that thing up into exactly where you want it to go.
Look at
And
that.
You got steak for a month, man.
Look at
That's
that.
great shit.
These are guys with a plan. Hopefully the Niners have a plan as well. Thanks for checking out the Krug Show live from Vegas. More to come.